So I'm gonna do my diddly dang best to make this exactly an hour long. I even have the timer and everything. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be glorious. Just you wait, just you wait. Hold up. Nope. Okay, I need to do that, then that. There we go. Any astute listeners will notice that I don't sound entirely 100%. And that would be because I'm not entirely 100%. As a matter of fact, I'd say I'm more like a 40%. Maybe even less. Maybe even less. I'm not gonna lie, I did not want to stream today, but I said I would. I said I would, so I had to. That is the law of the land around here. Well, not really. I've canceled many streams before, but like, okay, you know what I do a lot? You know what I do a lot is I try to say like, oh, stream in 2 days, but I try to use like time zones to my advantage. So what I'll do is usually I stream at like an awkward time, which is like 8 a.m. Europe time, like British time, or I don't know. Maybe not that time, but it's like 6 or something. I don't know. But like the plan, the plan is for a lot of what I do is I say I'll stream in 2 days, and let's say I don't know why I'm using the paintbrush for this necessarily, but all right. So this is going to be a timeline for my time zone, right? Timeline for my time zone, and then we're going to have pink be the British. And so they'll be like over here. And the vertical lines represent days. And so basically, I'll be streaming around like late US time, or like late PMs, early AMs type thing, you know, like around midnight. So I'll be streaming around here. That's like around there, Europe time. And so if I say in 2 days, what you expect is bomb. But in reality, like I wake up here, and then 2 days from that point is like bomb. Bam. What was my point in making this? I don't think I illustrated my point very well. I think I, as a matter of fact, illustrated my point very, very poorly. Whatever. My point was that usually what I try to do is I'll say like 2 days, and then it's actually 3 days for me, but it's like depending on your time zone and like when you go to sleep and whatnot, it ends up being 2 days. You know what? Although looking at this handy dandy time chart that I've laid down, in front of me, I don't think it actually works out like that. Wait, no. It does, because this would be my time zone, right? This would be my time zone, because if this marks the beginning of the day, then it's later in the day for European time zones and whatnot. Okay, yeah. Okay, so let's say I start here, wake up here. What you're expecting is 2 days from that point will be like bump, bump. But nay, it's 2 days, it's 3 days for me. So, but I could do it in the morning, right? So I could do bomb. Like I count this as 1 day. These are when I wake up. This is day 2. This is day 3. This is when I wake up. 1, 2, 3. I stream here, or if I stream around here, as you can see, it is 3 days later for me. It took 3 sleeps, but it's only 2 days later for the European folks. What am I on about? I don't really know. Yeah. I don't really have a plan for this. Oh, I did have a plan. Ooh. Because there's a thing that I want to test, right? Because basically I saw this clip from Neil deGrasse Tyson, and he was saying how a deck of cards has 52 factorial possible like shuffling combinations, right? 52 factorial sequences, which is a very big number. I think it was like I don't remember like the exact number. I just remember it was times 10 to the power of 63 or something like that, which is an insane number. And then good old Neil, he tries to go off and be like, if you have a trillion people shuffling a deck of cards 1 trillion times a second for 1 trillion years, and then you do that across 1 trillion Earths in like 1 trillion different galaxies and 1 trillion different universes. If you play all of that out and then you shuffle a deck of cards, you'll end up with like a 40% chance that you match with any single one of them. Basically saying that, yeah, you probably never had the same sequence of cards. Humanity has probably never had the same sequence of a deck of cards that's properly shuffled. And that's pretty cool and all. And I think his analogy works because it just goes on and on, right? I think the only reason that works is because you say like 1 trillion people doing 1 trillion things 1 trillion times a second for 1 trillion years, for 1 trillion civilizations, for 1 trillion universes. Basically, he continues 1 trillion for 1 trillion times is what it feels like. And then eventually says you have a 40% chance of matching. And it's like, dang, okay. All of that work, all of that effort leads to 40%. And the tricky thing about that is that like I feel as though it's kind of misleading in a sense. Not in the sense of the mathematical sense, right? Because like mathematically what he says is right. I'm going to trust him on that. That Neil deGrasse Tyson has his math correct. It was not even his math, probably. It's probably, borrowed from another person, or at least verified by another person, or computed by another person. I don't know. But either way, I'm going to trust that Neil deGrasse Tyson has his math correct, and so that all of these trillions and trillions and trillions lead to the 40% chance of getting the same deck of cards or whatever, right? Whatever that means. But the thing is, that's my point right there. Whatever that means, right? Like, you can go on, and if you continue the analogy even more, if you had said a billion instead of a trillion and you just expanded it 1,000 times more, then like the analogy will still work, because you have, like, you'll think to yourself, wow, wait, let me draw this out. You'll think to yourself, wow, that's a lot of effort. Wow. Out of effort. Can I shrink this down perchance? Yeah. You'll think to yourself, wow, that's a lot of effort. Um, and then that's kind of where it ends off, right? Like you comprehend that me telling you that a trillion people are doing a thing a trillion times a second for a trillion years on a trillion different planets. That whole sequence, you recognize that's a lot of effort. But what you don't recognize is fully like how much that is, I think. At least in my pee-wee little peanut brain, I can't really comprehend like a lot of these big numbers, or like a trillion. Like, dude broke it down into about as compact as you could in a short, right? If you wanted to break it down even more and have it be incomprehensible numbers rather than a trillion, instead of using a trillion, you use like 10 or something for all of these. Like, it would go on for like years. That YouTube video would be the longest in history. It would go on longer than the Lo-Fi Girl live stream. But you know, so it helps in the sense that we're breaking it down as small as we can within reason. But it's still the case that I don't know what the hell a trillion is. Mathematically, I know what the hell a trillion is. It's 10 to the power of... Never mind, I guess I don't know. Is it 9? It's 12, I think. Right? 1,000. Millions. Billions, trillions. Yes. 10 to the 12. So that's 10 followed by 12 zeros. Yeah. See? And that is written out in a trillion. Or that is a trillion written out in our base 10 numerics. All right? But what if I want to write a trillion lines? Like actually a trillion lines. Let's say I do the good old like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, the tally marks, and I make a trillion lines. All of a sudden, we notice that like this number that we have written here that seems pretty comprehensible. That seems like it's quite simple. It's just 12. It's just 12 zeros and a 1. But all of a sudden, that becomes a number we can't fully comprehend, because it's like, look at this. We're at 15, and I'm already kind of starting to lose track. You know what I mean? Like once we repeat that for this entire page, it's just gonna be like a collection of lines, but you're not even gonna be able to comprehend the individual lines. Some people may be able to say like, oh no, but I could I could still count all the individual lines. Sure, you could. But here's an experiment that I thought of a while ago that I think I haven't seen anywhere else. Is like, I was thinking to myself, how many things can I really comprehend at one time? Like, how many, like, what, like, if I was cleaning dishes, right? So here's what was happening. I was cleaning dishes, thinking about life as you do, and I set down one of the bowls in, there in the kitchen sink. There's two sides, right? You have like one side for rinsing, one side for like placing the dishes in, and then they go in the dishwasher or whatever. Anyway, I was placing the dishes in the other side of the sink, and as I'm placing in there, as I'm stacking like the 12th plate or whatever, I look down and I notice like that's a lot of things right there. My brain is kind of just meshing them together, you know? I can recognize the picture that I'm seeing as an image of a bunch of plates, dishes, silverware, whatnot. But am I really like, do I really like see that and recognize 12 plates, 5 bowls, 3 cups, 4 spoons, am I really seeing all of that with just the one bomb, you know? I don't think I do. I don't I don't think I do at all. I thought to myself, well, how much of that can I comprehend? If I look at the one plate that I just sat down, that I just placed down, that I just rinsed thoroughly and it's nice and clean, if I look at that plate and then like keep looking at it and look at the surroundings, how many things can I recognize without having to move my eyes? So that's the experiment I came up with, was to simplify it down, we have one dot. I'm gonna do over like this. One dot. We're gonna have the central dot be black. Okay. And then every dot after this is gonna be, it doesn't have to be a different color. I think it'll help. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna draw a bunch of different dots, and like my thought process is, or the idea I go with, and I think a lot of people probably can't do significantly more than me. I think there's a limit to the human brain. Is you look at the black dot, and then without moving your eyes from the black dot, you start counting every other dot around it. I could go with a little bit darker. And basically, it's not so much like how many dots can you count, it's how many dots can you look at and recognize at the same time. I don't know, it's hard to explain. But basically, how many dots can I count in an instant? Like if I blink, it's not where I'm going like 1, 2, 3. It's like I blink and it's 6, right? And that's my limit, is 6. I probably can comprehend about this much. That's my limit. What I'm saying is I look at the dot without moving my eyes from the dot, and I know it's getting further away, and so you have to use your peripheral vision, but I don't think it's so far away. You can just move your screen away or whatever. Like, look at the black dot and count how many dots you can see in that instant. Not so much like okay, I see one dot way in the corner and then there's a second one. Again, it's just like boom, 6 or like boom, 10 or whatever. How many are you seeing? So me personally, my limit caps out at about 5 or 6. I don't really know how good this test is or even if I'm explaining it well enough, but I want to know, I want to have a study done, you know? I want to see like, cuz there is the like very commonly like well-known fact that humans can only focus on one thing at a time, right? But my question to take that further is like how many objects can be in that one thing that we're focusing on, if that makes sense, right? Like like is it truly just do we glob things together in our brain? Like if a pack of lions is coming at us, do we recognize it as like 6 lions or just a pack of lions? Like a as in singular pack of lions. Do we group them together in our brain or uh do we actually recognize from a single glance like one or like multiple things? I don't know. It's I guess there's several different ways to take this dot test that I came up with. One would be that I just tried right now would be like turn your head away, turn your head back, and then like see how many you see in that instant. And I guess if you have color blindness or something, it might be a bit different. But yeah, but I don't know how different that's gonna be because you still see the dots, I think, behind a white background, surely. Um, but yeah, in actually the test I me doing that just now revealed that I can only do 4 or rather 5. I can only see these. And then like I guess the red and the pink are like lighter colors, so they don't stand out as much, so my brain just doesn't even include them in the like instant register, right? And then these ones out here, these blue dots out here, further ones, along with all of the further dots, right? I don't how wait, how do you along with all of the outer ring, I kind of just with that quick glance, like what I'm doing is I'm literally like looking away and scrolling my head past, like I'm just turning my head decently quick and only giving myself maybe like, not enough time to count at all, maybe half a second, maybe like 0.1 seconds, just like see the image, look at the black dot, and then count. And in that moment I can only count black dot and these 4 blue dots. The rest of it is kind of all gone. Like all this outer rim I don't even register. I think the inner rim I'm like registering, but it's not, I can't count the dots, you know? If I didn't know they were there, then I wouldn't, be able to count them. That makes sense. Ugh. I am sick. Dang. I thought it was not as bad as it is, but my voice is definitely icky. Water. Okay. Ooh, did you just hear that fart? Ooh, that was a stinker. That was a butt. That was a cheek flapper for sure. Anyway, so now that I've established that I can only see, or that I can only comprehend really 5 things. That was the point of this experiment, was like, how many things can you really like comprehend? Because I can count up, right? But my point is that if I'm sitting here and counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it's not really, I'm not really comprehending all of the dots right there. I'm not really comprehending all of this. I'm just comprehending the number. I'm just recognizing that the number has a meaning, and like I can rebuild whatever, right? It's kind of, I don't know. If you think about how we think about numbers, I guess it's more so, this is an interesting thought that I've never really thought of. So we can comprehend the number 15, right? We know that it is 5 more than 10. We know that it is, maybe we know it's 3 times 5. Maybe we know like physically what it is, but if we're actually to look at the number 15, how do we comprehend what that means? Or if we are to lay it out more in physical terms, we have to then go and be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And now we have this collection of lines. And it's like, and going back to the dot test earlier, we just showed that, well, at least for me personally, I can't comprehend this, you know. If I'm just looking at this means nothing to me. Well, the only way it means anything or is like by packaging it. We don't take it as its full deal. We take it as like, okay, this one is 1, and we label one line as 1. We label second line as 2, which is basically saying that we have already counted one line before that. It's basically saying that we've counted one line before that. And now we have a new collection, which we are denoting as 2. Continuing that down, we have 5, because I don't want to do that for every number. So we have 5, as that's basically saying that, you know, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that there's 5 things. So we label that as a number. But it's not like physically, it doesn't like the number doesn't always have to be a physical 5 fingers or 5 toes or I don't know, 5 Bluetooth speakers. It doesn't have to be 5 physical things. It's just a number now, and so we denote numbers as just like the label, right? It's just a label versus this is, you know, however many, what is this? 4, 8. Oh, that's 4, 8, 16, 17. So that's 17 dots. And you can see there's like, those are individual dots. But then if we just write 17 dots, that has the same meaning. I'm going off on a complete like shower thoughts right here. I hope it's at least moderately entertaining. or at least interesting. So like these two statements are effectively the same, but obviously it's not the same. You know, this is a line and a bent line followed by, you know, a couple organized lines versus a black dot surrounded by blue, red, pink dots surrounded by more blue, red, and pink dots. So those like when you describe it like that, it's two completely different things, but we denote it as just 17 dots. And I guess the same goes for the number, for any number 15 or like 16 or any number in existence. We just recognize that the number that we write, you know, 15, 30, 1 trillion, we recognize that that has meaning, right? But do we fully understand the meaning? Can we fully comprehend the meaning behind a trillion? I don't really think we can. Well, at least not me. I'm not the guy to do that. And honestly, there's such a big gap between, you know, a trillion and and I mean, I just wanted a nice funny line. And 5, because that's how many I can see, that's how many I can comprehend. There's such a big gap between comprehending 5 and comprehending a trillion. I just, like, in my mind, I just don't see it possible to actually be able to comprehend something that massive. We can comprehend, again, the number, but I think once we go past something like 10, all we're comprehending is, instead of like when we go from 10 to 20 or 10 to 100, we're comprehending that this number goes to a bigger number. You know, the first number, this first number here goes to a bigger number, or that this 0 turns into 2 zeros, and so that means that there's an order of magnitude difference. And I said that in air quotes. You couldn't see the air quotes, but like hopefully you could hear when I say an order of magnitude. Like, what the hell does that mean, right? We know what it means mathematically. And that's the beauty of mathematics, is that we don't have to understand, like, we don't have to comprehend the scale of a number to understand that it is bigger. And that's what it's supposed to do, right? The reason we write things, the reason we have a numbering system in the first place, the reason we have scientific notation, let's say, so that we can say 5 times 10 to the 7, or 2 times 10 to the 76th. You know, thanks to mathematics and like thanks to denotation, we know that that this number is significantly, like, way, humongously, incomprehensibly bigger than this number right here. And it's not even close. It's not even remotely close. But we know that thanks to denotation. But we know that thanks to like the mathematical system of writing, right? But this number right here is bigger than that number. So what's going on? There's all sorts of different complications. I don't know. I think I'm looking into this in a way that a lot of people are just going to say that's stupid. Maybe I don't mind. I know, I don't mind. Still got 25 more minutes to go. I don't know why I didn't make this like a 30-minute stream. I'm kind of dying out here. We making it till the end. Okay. What other shower thoughts do I got? Right now it's just been all numbers and a timeline that barely counts as a timeline. Damn. My bad. I didn't mean to blow your ears out with my fucking fart. My wet juice. Oh my god. No. My sister's dog is in the room. I'm being the caretaker for my sister's dog while she's on vacation. Oh, I'm so sorry for you. Oh, that dog is not waking up. I've killed my sister's dog. Well, you live and you learn. I do also have Clicker Heroes open, but that's just because I thought I was gonna put that on stream, and then I wasn't. You know what I can do? I can just like talk about what's been going on. Does anyone care? Not really. All right, then let's not do that. Okay. So what can we do instead? We can talk about what's been going on, but instead of in a way of like, oh hey, here's the update, we can. Okay, this sounds schizophrenic as but donkeys, the way I'm phrasing this. Okay. Here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna go through a little story time. And that's it. Um okay. Well, when's the last time I streamed? I think it was like, oh, I know it was over a week ago. Let's see. I'm gonna. It was like 10 days ago or so. Okay. So, what happened in the last 10 days? Huh. Well, I think. So, yeah, last time I streamed, I had just started school. And now I'm like going back, you know. I've been on the grind. I've had homework assignments. I've turned in homework assignments. Half of them. That's the end of the sentence. I've turned in half of them, as in half of what I was supposed to, as in I am not a good student, as in I am not a role model. But you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm actually enjoying my classes. This semester. Ooh, this is what we can get into. This is some spicy drama. This is some squimble drama right here. So, um, basically, at my university, I've like we had a summer class that was kind of mandatory. And so I went to that, and over the course of that, I developed a 3-person friend group. Originally, right, it was just me and another guy, but now it's all 3 of us, or at least it was during the summer session. But I guess they kind of got sick of me or something. I don't. I think there's a bunch of different factors going on. I am not like a great person. So, or in the sense that I don't show up to class on time, right? That's what I should say. So there is the possibility that they just don't like how I'm always late to class, how I'm not really dedicated to school or anything like that. And they are. And so basically, it was the three of us, you know, during the summer session. All three, not just the two, all three. But now what's going on is instead of me and friend one and friend two, it's just friend one and two. There is no me. I am no longer in the equation. As in, like, we'll go to lunch, or rather, I think the worst example is, like, you know, if you're walking. This is a bird's eye view, right? Bird's eye view. If you're walking to whatever, walking to class, walking to lunch, walking with your friends, and it's a group of three, or the group of three or four, like a small group like this, right? You make sure everybody can talk to each other. So, like, there's a line of sight between this person and this person. There's a line of sight between this person, this person, this person, this person. Everyone can see each other. Everyone can talk, right? One person, the person in the middle kind of backs away. And even if they don't, even if this isn't the setup, then it's more like just a straight line, where everybody's eyes, you know, are kind of pointed forward, where it's like boom, boom. These are, I'm drawing lines for the eyes, you know, pointed where everybody's looking. And everybody's like conversing with each other, right? So maybe it's not so much that everybody can see each other, but everybody is like this person speaks, and then this person can speak, this person can speak, and they're all like conversing together. That's normally the 3-man way it goes. But recently with these guys, it's just been, you know, we go in a line, but their line of sight is more like is more like this. To be clear, they are not dating each other. They're both straight men, so like that's not the issue here. Right. So the conversation is entirely just bouncing between these two people, and they're actively excluding me from the conversation. Well, not excluding me per se, but very rarely will they ever, and it's not even so much that they won't talk about something that I can't join in, is that they actively, well, they will choose topics that they know I can't join in on, and they, like, even if I can join in, they will ignore anything I have to say. So I don't know why I'm getting into it. I don't know why I chose this topic, but it's kind of interesting. So it's mostly just these two, right? It's they're talking to each other, they're looking at each other. Again, they're not dating. If they were dating and I was the third wheel, honestly, I'd be more fine with that. But these were supposed to be homies. We're supposed to be a trio. But no. And my bad, I put a fidget spinner on the desk. So I'm like trying to look in at the conversation, join in the conversation. I'm like putting stuff in, there's no stuff coming back. But that's like walking down the halls. That's, you know, this is the setup. This is a setup where everybody's talking. You're all joining in on the conversation together. No one's really being left out. Versus this, where these two are looking at each other and won't even look at me. I think it's more predominant when it's like in a classroom. So we have we there's even a classroom we sit in which has curved desks, and I'll sit at the end. Friend A will sit in the middle, friend B will sit at this end. You know, that's like, right, someone has to be on this end. Okay? In a three-man group, one person's going to be on the middle, one person's going to be on the end, one person's going to be on the other end. That's just how the universe works with three people, right? Three people in a line, three things in a line. Two of them are going to be at the ends. And so you might think, I think the common thing for sitting down in a situation like this, sitting down with your friends and talking to each other. Again, it's in class, but like you still make comments or talk, or like even if the teacher says to like do this, like talk about this with your peers, usually you person in the middle will kind of back up and allow for the bomb interaction. But no. Instead, what I get is that person in the middle actually leans in and kind of takes up more space right here, and so that it's only just them two looking at each other. I'm left on the sidelines. I feel like that's the worst one, where you're sitting at a desk. The middle person is supposed to scooch back, have the group of three, be a group of three. This is not a group of three. This is a group of two with a third wheel. I am not a third wheel. They are not dating. They are not even romantically interested in each other. They cannot be romantically interested in each other. They are straight men. They are homies, but I thought I was one of the homies, and I am not, is what I'm coming to conclude. Luckily, right, these are not my only friends. I have a lot of other friends at university, so I'm gonna be trying to like mingle around with them. But it's a shame because like these two people are really cool people that I want to be friends with. But it's like, if they're not gonna include me, there's nothing I can do. Like, if a friendship is a relationship of any kind is a mutual, it's a two-way street. And so like any friendship has to be like bomb, has to be both ways. You have to be the two people. Why are they running like why are they running Sonic style? Two people, like they gotta this person gotta share with this person, the other person gotta share with this person. It goes both ways. But if it's not going both ways, if it's only going one way, like that's, I don't know, at a certain point it becomes parasocial, I suppose. It's like, how long am I going to be looking at their Instagram or like following them around, and I know all about their lives, they don't know anything about my life. That's the outcome that it comes into. If I'm over here and I'm not, I like, all I can get in are like some witty quips and whatnot. Like they're sharing their life stories. There's a couple things, right? There's already been a couple moments where they're talking about things that are like secret, as if they had shared it with each other and not me, and that's fine, right? Because I have things that I share with my friends that it's like, yeah, I've only shared it with you so far. But like, I don't know. If it was a really serious thing, then okay, this is let me back up. So, if it was a really serious thing where like he just happens to trust this guy a little bit more than me, then that's fine, right? And he shared like a very private thing. Like friend B shared a very private thing to friend A. They were referring to it, and I'm not allowed in because they don't trust me like that. That's fine. But it wasn't that. It was a thing that we had discussed during the summer, and that I knew about, but they were being secretive with, and very clearly trying like looking to me and saying, "Oh, but I don't want him to know." And it's like, what? I thought I already knew, and I knew what was going on. That's the thing is like I knew what was going on. I knew what they were talking about, but they were trying to like cover it up as if it was some like, oh, we can't let him know. The Squimble isn't in on this. And he's not one of us. And it's like, I thought I was though. Like I don't. And again, what did I do to deserve this? I think it's kind of fair. That I'm. Yeah, I will say I put up a bit of a different persona at university rather than how I am on stream, or especially with my normal friend group. It's a very different persona. And I think, well, either way, even if it wasn't a different persona, it's like you might just not vibe with the person that I am, right? And so maybe like I brought up the persona thing because like, let's say this is me, but then this is also going to be me. I'm just doing a different fade because that's supposed to represent a different portion of my personality, or like how I am with different people. So maybe there's a possibility that they don't like this version of me, but maybe this version would be okay. But like, this is what they get, and they never see this. That's a possibility. Honestly, it could I think for like one of the friends, it might just be that we really just don't click quite well. I think I could put in more effort to get along with them. Well, it's not like we don't get along. I think we get along perfectly fine. I think I could put more effort into being involved with them, if that makes sense. Like I could reach out more and talk to them more and whatnot. Friend B, or the other, the first guy that I was friends with, this guy, if this guy's me, then, that whole situation. Friend one. I know him and I very much gel with each other. We very much vibe. But maybe it's like, I think there's a possibility that I've, been acting differently at university recently. And maybe it's the same thing where they no longer, like, maybe this is how I was, this is how I am. Again, they don't like this version, they like this version, but this is what they see, this is what they don't see anymore. Maybe that's it, and I just haven't noticed the change within myself. The reason that I've been saying is that, like, I am chronically late. If you look at my stream tags on Twitch, chronically late, it's literally every single time. The first class of every single day, I am going to be late by at least 5 to 15 minutes. One time I was late by a whole hour. That class was a 3 hour class. It was a 3 hour class, but I was still an hour late. And so I think if you value, right? I think that it's not so much that it's a bit difficult to explain, but I'm going to put it this way, right? And cut away like the whole being late thing. If there's something that you value within yourself, right? Let's I'm just going to draw. There's a self value that you have. Maybe that's being on time, maybe that's being cleanly, maybe that's making sure you always look nice or something like that. I think it's pretty normal to maybe not so much expect, but more so maybe respect or value that in other people, right? At the very least, it kind of hurts. I think we can all agree that if someone comes along and this is a bow and arrow, by the way. Bom, 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 bom. Someone comes along and tries to ruin the thing or discredit the thing that you value, that's gonna hurt, right? Or you're not gonna appreciate that in some capacity, right? So I think for friend one, what could be happening, or again, I don't know. I haven't really asked him. That's the thing I could do. Is just I could just ask him, like, "Hey, do you guys like not like me anymore? Or what's going on?" You know. Um, but instead, we took to the internet, and now it's public knowledge for everyone. Anyway, I think it's an interesting topic, regardless of how it relates to my life. It's a thing to keep in mind that I've reflected on anyway. Is that if someone has something that they value, it's disrespectful per se to just come in and try to tarnish that, Like if someone values being on time, right? And they value that highly for themselves, if someone values something highly enough for themselves, it's going to start spreading, it's going to start radiating into affecting other people, right? So if let's say it'll affect the other values that they have. So if I value being on time and I also value my friends, then I may very well value my friends being on time. And I don't think that's a big leap to make. Whether or not that's fair on your friends, that's an entirely different topic, I'd say, but I think it's a perfectly normal thing to have some, like any self value, and then I guess expect that of other people, especially those you care about in some capacity, right? Probably the most obvious example will be health. If you value health, or at least the health of, or at least you value, you know, the time with your friends, then you're gonna value your friend's health because it's like you want them to be around more, you want them to be like spend more time with you or whatever it may be. You don't have to break it down into those reasons. They can just value it because that's a new thing you value now. uh and I think we can it's normal to extend what we value into other things, and maybe that affects how we think of other people. But that's going to be the end of it. Goodbye.